And we keep things rolling here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, and it is holiday season, my friends. The weather is turning. Kids are in school. College football, the NFL is here. We can see playoff baseball, NBA basketball, and hockey are getting ready. And we have an early Christmas gift for everybody here on the Sports Cubicle from our amazing friends over at the Frontier League. This is some pretty cool stuff that we have coming here because joining us on this edition of the Sports Cubicle, he is an MVP. And I just don't mean it because he's a cool dude. He does some cool stuff and he has a bright future. He is literally an MVP. He is the Morgan Burkhart MVP. He is joining us from the Washington Wild Things. He's our friend. He's your brother. You love him. He's Caleb McNeely. Caleb, how are you, my man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, I appreciate you so much for making some time for us. So, I mean, look, when you get this type of award, we know that it takes a community, it takes an entire village to get to this point. But when you kind of feel it all coming together and you know that this is your award, this is going to go to you, what are the emotions? Who are the people you think about when this type of honor is bestowed upon you?
Oh, I mean, I always think about my parents and how much hard work they've done for me to get here, and I think about how many phone calls my skipper had to make to just get my name out there enough. Because I mean, I can put up all the numbers, but it's still a vote between everybody. So I want to thank him too for helping out as much as he can, and just all my family and my teammates for working hard behind me as well, and just it's all a community, and we all have to work hard together. And I just got lucky, and they picked me, which it feels amazing to be picked for something like that.
When you're going through this kind of venture, though, and I think about guys and girls like you who are just such great athletes, and it's not just the physical part of it, it's the mental part of it that people don't see. When you get this type of recognition and you know that the team side of it, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, there's still an ultimate goal, but when you get this, knowing the amount of stuff that people don't see, is it fulfilling, or is it a checklist? What is it? Because for somebody like me, right, like I have my own personal goals, my own career goals, right, but in your type of level, in the athletic realm, is it something that you can really sit down and enjoy? Is it something that you really are able to acknowledge and appreciate now in the moment? Or is it something that just is something else that you're trying to achieve in this entire process you're going through, this journey you're on?
Man, I wouldn't. Wow, I mean, that's a great question. It's almost impossible to like achieve an MVP title if you're even thinking about it, to be honest. Like, I don't know if I can really appreciate it until after the season, and I'm just like sitting down with family, and we're just that's probably the first time I think I'll really be able to appreciate the award. But like right now, I mean, we still have postseason, we still have all this, and the award isn't going to get me base hits. So I'm just, I really appreciate the award that I've gotten, but I don't even know if I've like fully processed what it means or how it feels or anything.
Let's talk about the clubhouse, Caleb, because this is something that, I mean, it's really cool. Anybody who, I love independent baseball, minor league baseball, local baseball. I think it's kind of the beating heart of sports in America that nobody really talks about. And when we get, diamonds like you who are kind of a total package, and you come from a strong family and a strong community and a strong just everything to get you to this point. And then you go into a clubhouse that is kind of like that. What is this like to be in a clubhouse full of winners and achievers, and on this stage in your career, in this stage of your early part of your life, to have so many people who themselves are being recognized for awards, for all-stars in this postseason chase? How has that been like to kind of celebrate other people's success while celebrating yours and still having so much more that you could potentially do?
Man, it's a lot of fun being around with those kind of guys. Man, like, we only got a couple awards through, like, Tyreek got hitter of the year, and we have a couple all-star pitchers. But I'll tell you, like, there's more. We should have gotten more awards throughout the team. because there are so many winners on this team. It's a great group of guys to be around, to be honest. It's motivating every day.
That motivation, is it competitive too, because there is so much talent and there's so much hunger to try to do great things as a team? Does that kind of drive the clubhouse and the way everybody kind of has that it's a brotherhood, but there's a lot of internal competition to kind of raise everybody's game?
Yes, but there's a lot of older guys as well. Mm-hmm. So there is the you can't beat me attitude all over the clubhouse. But there's also actually, if you do it like this, it's going to be a lot more efficient for yourself. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, thank you. That's even better for me now. Like there's no one's going to pull back a helping hand from their teammate on this team. That's another cool aspect, I guess.
No, and listening, right? Like, I think that's the one thing that gets lost in a lot of people that don't take that next step. Is it's one thing for your veterans or somebody your own age who has a knowledge of something that you don't know, to be able to be a sponge and listen, and you hear all the greats say that that's what they did, even when the veteran telling them didn't realize that that's what they were doing. How big of a lesson has that been for you to make sure that you're not just listening, but you're hearing and you're absorbing what people are trying to show you, even if you may tweak it in your own way, to at least absorb that knowledge?
I mean, that would probably, to tweak it in your own way so you can be able to absorb the knowledge is probably the most, I mean, it's the hardest thing you can do, really, because you're switching a language up to put it into your own words. And sometimes it's really hard for people to just absorb what some people are saying. But if you can sit down and keep talking about it, because, I mean, you're close, then you'll eventually get ahead. That makes sense.
No, it does. And I think coming from somebody like you who's made big decisions, and if you're listening to us right here on the Sports Cubicle, I'm your host, Mike Mercado. An amazing shout out to our friends over at the Frontier League and, of course, over at the Washington Wild Things, because we have an awesome treats for all you guys joining us today. He is the MVP. He is Caleb McNeely, and we are having a good time trying to just, have a conversation with somebody who's achieved a big moment and whose team has big goals in their future these next few weeks, these next few months, and heck, who knows what the future may bring. But when you made a decision to move on from college to make this kind of step in your career, it fascinates me when people, whether it's in business, whether it's in arts, whether it's in sports, when they take a leap of faith and they trust in their talent. And I think a lot of people listening here have done that themselves. I've tried to do that myself, and it takes a lot to do that. When you made the jump, what was your college experience like? How much love or experience or lessons were you taught from that managerial staff over there in West Virginia? And kind of what was the thought process to make this leap of faith to go and start your pro career that has now come into a point where you have postseason aspirations in a big-time championship way and won an MVP award?
Man, I can only speak highly of the West Virginia staff and from what I learned at that program. I was in junior college for almost 3.5 years. So I learned, it was a top JUCO in the nation. So I learned a lot from just having to practice every day and just play at a high speed every single day. And those players are good. They all went to all sorts of schools. But why? I don't know. It really wasn't ever about money for me, so I wasn't looking for the NIL or anything. I just wanted to be able to play every single day, and I figured that I could get better if I came and played in the Frontier League.
What were your thoughts when you make that decision and your first days in the Frontier League? Like in the NFL, they say, welcome to the league, rookie. What was it for you when you made that jump and it was that moment of like, this is the decision I made. This is where I'm rolling with.
Yeah, I think I had that moment in the off season when I was just at home working a little bit. I was like, man, I'm supposed to be at school right now. It was my first year, not in college. Like, oh, man. all right, this is what we're doing. I'm a professional baseball player now.
All right, tell me how that's like. Tell me, all right, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to let you go. You got to go eat. We've had a great time with you. This is awesome fun. We're going to hype up the playoffs in just a second, but what is that like when you get to say those words, I'm a professional baseball player? I mean, something that I'm sure you've dreamed about. Every little boy and girl dreams about being a pro, whatever, for the longest time. When you officially said those words for the first time, what was that like? Like, I know maybe you categorized it in your brain, but I'm sure there is an emotion whenever you get to say that still at this point after you are now a damn MVP.
Yeah, I mean, it really is just surreal. I can't even put into words how to describe it. Like, I remember sitting on the couch when I was young, and I don't know, I think I just told my dad that I wanted to play professional baseball. And I still have that memory from when I was like 6 or 7, watching baseball late at night. And I don't even I have no words to describe how it feels to be able to say that I'm a professional baseball player right now. I love this game more than anything.
Caleb, let me ask you this. I think this is a great way we can lead off the last question before we kind of put a bow on this. Is after all the success that you've had, now that you're an MVP, we know postseason baseball is here. We know that the clubhouse is ready. We know that you're ready. I want to talk about the philosophy of the game that we love, baseball. I think anybody listening here, I know here on the show, myself, my co-hosts, Paul Chivari and Devin and Marver, we all love baseball. We love this game. Chicago loves baseball. And the philosophy of baseball of specialties, of people being, learning early specialized positions and getting Tommy John at this age. What do you think about the way the game, because you're still, as much as you've already achieved, still a young man in this game. What are your thoughts about the way baseball is being handled by, let's say, the younger ages, the pony leagues, the travel leagues, and the way we're developing baseball players and what you're seeing in our sport right now? What are your thoughts? What are you seeing as you've come up and now that you're at this point and achieving so much?
I haven't been around Little League in so long, so I'm not too sure about. Whenever I give lessons, it's all about just like we're gonna have fun, because you either have the talent or you don't have the talent at a young age, and you can always. I mean, you go through puberty, you can work hard, you can break through those barriers on your own, but if you can't have fun out here, then it's honestly more miserable than working a 9-to-5 job, because it's the most negative thing you can really be doing, just numbers wise.
No, it's so for sure. Yeah.
I mean, the only way I know how to answer that question is just like, if you're not having fun, you're wasting your time.
No, it's a good way. I mean, it's a sport of failure, right? It's the first thing we learn as we're coming up. Like a Hall of Famer, we're talking to an MVP here. MVPs, Hall of Famers, All-Stars, they strike out, they ground out, they pop out, they fly out, whatever, 7 out of 10 times, and that's considered Hall of Fame. It's one of the hardest sports in the world. And I think talking to you, you have such a great mind for the game. You have a good head on your shoulders. You could tell that you really have absorbed a lot from your community and from your coaching staffs. And I think everybody around you, including your teammates, including everybody over at the Washington Wild Things and the Frontier League, are proud of your success. And you've been listening to what has been an awesome interview with Caleb McNeely, the MVP. That is right, boys and girls, the MVP of the Frontier League. Caleb, any final thoughts as we head into playoff games? This is an awesome time for baseball fans. Any final thoughts or words for your fans here in Chicago?
I don't know. I love you guys.
go Wild Things. How about we go on
Wild Things. Go Wild Things.
Caleb, you've been awesome, brother. Thank you so much, my man.
Thank you.
We got a whole lot left here on the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado.